The following is a review of a comic book and is not an endorsement of the creators involved, including their weird internet fantasies, which I have seen. All of them. Thanks to the therapy, I cry less these days.
Hey guys, Dollycrap here. It's a brand new year and I figured I'd start off with the beginnings with a bunch of endings. Seems counterintuitive or a bit of an oxymoron, but well, partially because Marvel's going to be doing a bunch of their The End one-shots this year. I decided to dedicate a lot of this month to the End. Kind of playing off my end of an eras, but not exactly. And this one, instead of starting with, I already did the Fantastic Four, The End, and the Last Fantastic Story already. So those are already taken care of. But for the first one I'm going to do for this particular going over everything, it'll be, instead of Hulk The End, it'll be Iron Man The End. Again, it's signed by Bernard Chang and Bob Layton. No David Michelinie yet. But part of the reason why, well, as you probably know by now, a lot of my comics are well loved, and this is no exception. But yeah, this was basically their take on what would happen with the whole The End line, with the exception of Marvel The End. I will get to that eventually. All of these other ones were following the strict stipulation of none of these were canon, and basically these were set in the far off future of giving a possible ending. Sorry about that. Trying to just adjust everything before the sunlight gets through. But yeah, they brought in most of their people who are well known for working on these books, for the most part. And in this case, we open up with Tony is a mess. It seems, as he wakes up and he's just typing along at things, but it appears that being in the armor for so long, being banged around, it's taking a toll on him. He even had to take a medication that he puts on his wrist, apparently, as he's been working on this device that's basically for for the past 50 years, he even says, he's been trying to make Stark Universal into a global juggernaut. And he's realizing also that he doesn't have as much time. Now, for the sake of this story, this is the case where Iron Man is still considered to be Tony's bodyguard. They've been able to keep that under wraps. So yeah, Tony puts on the armor and a very cool shot of, holds it out and it just appears over him from the suitcase as he's working on this giant nanotube that takes it all the way up to the space station up above. And he's been protecting it to make sure other people do not take control of it. But out of the blue then, it seems like there's a seismic activity going on underground as he goes down there, and well, he tries to use the Hulkbuster armor. Unfortunately, he has to reverse it because, well, he puts it best, the Hulkbuster mode does not unseal automatically, and he almost drowns. So he has to reverse back to the normal mode and figure out a way of dealing with it. With it all. Again, no, his bones are aching, so he has to make do with what he can. As he meets up with this one guy named Nick, who is this very intelligent worker at Stark Universal. He was able to, he takes the whole edge of, remember being able to fit the entire Bible into the size of a pin? He's figured it out. And, well, also Tony is married to a woman named Bess. No idea who she is. It's not Pepper, but obviously Michelinie and Layton were never going for that. But she's a loving wife, really cares for him. As well, basically saying how, she's a senator as well. Basically just feels like he's been pushing himself so hard, and there's just so much at stake. She's trying to tell him to give it up, but he's basically like, the world needs Iron Man, and he is Iron Man. Yeah. Well, she heads back to Washington. Tony continues on working as, again, he's having some fun interactions with Nick. Just realizing he sees a lot of himself in him. As, Tony realizes that there's a lot of sabotage that's been going on lately. So eventually he's able to determine where the sabotage is and makes his way in, using yet another armor, as he's obviously been perfecting it still. And then he meets up with the Ultra Dynamo instead of the Crimson Dynamo. The two fight it out, but it's clear that Tony is just outmatched, especially when the Crimson Dynamo starts to almost absorb the armor, melting it down. Tony's able to get, well, he's just knocked right down, I should say, as the Ultra Dynamo, comes back at, and, he just stays behind, as some of these other doctors are basically saying his conditioning is getting worse with each battle. Yeah, so basically, Tony just simply asked him to double his meds, and he's basically then when the doctor tries to talk him out of it, he says, "Do it, or I'll buy someone who will." And there's this great moment where he just feels like he says he needs help, so he opens up and sees a bottle of, basically alcohol. He looks it over, but he was never going to drink it. It was meant to not help him to drink it, help him to look at it and remind him what he needs to be. And I love that. That is actually fitting. It's like, I need to prove I'm still me. And, well, after talking it over with his wife, he soon decides he needs to pass it on to someone else. As he first starts to think it over, we see all these other heroes he thinks about. But he then soon realizes that if there's anyone else who could fit it, it's Nick, the new guy. As he reveals who he is, that he's Iron Man to him. But Nick at first feels like he's a scientist, and he starts to just brush it off at first after he says no. Tony then just snaps him, saying, like, you realize, and this is how you betray me after everything? And he just grills him, like, your position could disappear in a heartbeat. The strings can be pulled. To which Nick is like, you are my idol, but if this is how a hero really behaves, I want no part of it. To which Tony quickly calmed him down, saying, I'm sorry, this is just hard for me. As he's like, I'll give it a try. And he does. He puts on this newer version of the armor, flies around, goes through a test course, is showing real great promise, until at the very end, Tony puts in a unrevealed weapon that hits him from behind, basically saying, like, you gotta prepare for anything. And Nick is not happy. He's like, no, you want to still be Iron Man. You want to just push me off, don't you? You can't help it that I could actually do the job. To which Tony realizes he may be right. Then eventually the Ultra Dynamo shows up, and for a brief moment you think Nick runs off. You think because you think, well, yeah, in the moment you're like, oh no, he's running off. He's chicken. He gives up. And Tony's trying to get to the armor, but the Ultra Dynamo, he's the target. But then all of a sudden, Nick shows up in the Iron Man outfit and just lays the smackdown onto him, putting up a good fight and then when the Ultra Dynamo was about to use that same technique of melting down the armor, Nick counters it by absorbing the armor, utilizing the same trick, but then making it into his own feature. Showing that, yeah, Shellhead's in good hands, as Tony's ready to retire to the space station with his wife, giving a farewell as he brings in the new Iron Man. As, well, yep, he gives him a shaking hand. He goes on up, and he's going to live the rest of his days trying to help perfect science. And he's looking forward to tomorrow. This is a fantastic way for ending Tony. Basically, gives him a great send-off that has to be that he doesn't die, thankfully. He does pass it on to someone else, but shows that and Tony's been Iron Man for so long, he pretty much sees himself as Iron Man. And yeah, it was obviously a great strain, and well, it jumps forward, and actually that does so in such a way you're like, they don't bring up that much ties to their old run. They just simply say, okay, we're going to do our own thing, and just jump ahead. And Nick feels like an actual interesting character to take up the mantle. He's no Tony, and we're not going to see anything else with him, but not that bad. I love how the cover actually takes the original first appearance of Iron Man, but instead of having he's taking the parts and putting it on, he's putting them down and walking away. Again, this was a great send-off for, or at least a possible ending for Tony. A lot better than where the direction they've been going with him lately, I'll tell you that. So, yep. Tomorrow I'll probably be doing Hulk the end, trying to get the short ones out of the way. Because trust me, they start to get longer. So until then, I'll catch you guys later.